What was your biggest "we need to leave now" moment? I was at my cousin's wedding reception when the bride's ex-boyfriend showed up uninvited. At first, security tried to quietly escort him out, but he kept insisting he had something important to tell everyone about the groom that couldn't wait another second. The groom looked mortified and tried to play it off, telling people his future wife's ex was just drunk and jealous. But something about the ex's desperation felt different. He wasn't acting drunk or angry, he seemed genuinely panicked and kept saying people needed to know the truth before it was too late. The reception continued, but you could feel the tension building throughout the entire ballroom. Guests were whispering and pointing. The bride looked embarrassed but tried to keep dancing with her new husband. Meanwhile, the ex kept pacing outside the venue, making frantic phone calls and showing papers to anyone who would listen to him. During the father-daughter dance, the ex managed to slip past security again and grab the microphone from the band. Before anyone could stop him, he shouted that the groom was already married to his sister. The entire reception of 300 people went dead silent. The groom's face went white and he started stammering denials, but the ex pulled out his phone and showed pictures of marriage certificates and wedding photos. When a man in the eyes. Turns out the groom had been legally married to the ex's sister Sarah for 2 years and never divorced her, making today's ceremony completely fake and meaningless. But here's the crazy part. The ex wasn't there to ruin the wedding out of jealousy or spite. His sister had been missing for 3 months, and the groom kept insisting he hadn't seen her or heard from her. But the ex only found the marriage certificate while going through Sarah's apartment looking for clues about where she might have gone. The bride started screaming at the groom, demanding to know where his real wife was and why he would do this to her. She threw her bouquet at him and started ripping off her wedding dress right there in front of everyone. Her father looked like he wanted to murder someone with his bare hands. The groom just bolted, literally ran out of his own wedding reception still wearing his tuxedo, left his new fake wife, his missing real wife, and a room full of shocked family members. Some of the groomsmen tried to chase him, but he had too much of a head start and disappeared into the parking lot. Police found him 3 hours later at the airport trying to board a flight to Mexico with a one-way ticket he'd apparently bought weeks earlier. When they arrested him, he had Sarah's wedding ring in his pocket along with what looked like a handwritten suicide note she'd written. They never found his first wife. Turns out Sarah had discovered he was planning to marry someone else and confronted him the night she disappeared. Security cameras at their apartment building showed her leaving with him that night around 11 p.m., but she never came back home. The whole thing turned from a wedding celebration into a missing persons case and potential murder investigation in about 5 minutes. The bride had to call all the wedding guests the next day to tell them not only was her marriage fake, but her husband might be a killer. The venue still had all the white decorations and flowers up while police were interviewing guests and collecting evidence. Wedding cake sitting there untouched while detectives dusted for fingerprints. Most surreal thing I've ever witnessed in my entire life. I found out later that Sarah's ex had been investigating for weeks, following the groom and building a case. He knew something terrible had happened to his sister and the wedding was his last chance to expose the truth before the groom disappeared forever. The bride's family had spent $50,000 on this wedding. Her dress alone cost $3 grand, all for a marriage that wasn't even legal because the groom was already married to a woman who was probably dead. 2 months later, they found Sarah's body buried in the woods behind the groom's childhood home. He'd killed her the night she confronted him about the wedding plans. The fake wedding was supposed to be his cover story, making him look like a grieving widower instead of a murderer. The bride still hasn't recovered. She moved across the country and changed her name. Can't blame her, honestly.